What is up, everyone? Hopefully, everyone's having a good Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So you guys know what that means. Another edition of the Buffalo Blitz. He's Lance. I'm Peter. And we have probably, I would say, the greatest episode we're going to have to date. This is an absolute honor for Lance and I, and we can't wait to get started. We're going to have Kaiir Elam, Bills corner, second-year corner out of Florida, joining us in about a moment. But how are we doing right now, Lance?
Doing well. How you guys doing out there? Get in the comments. Let us know what you have going on. If you have certain questions for Kaiir, Super Chat's going to be heavily prioritized. We've got some questions that we already casted from the fans, so we've got a pretty good lineup of questions here. But feel free to comment in the questions, and if it's in the flow, we're definitely gonna get you on. So, without further ado, let them know, Peter.
Yeah, so without further ado, Buffalo Bills cornerback, second-year corner, Kaiir Elam is joining the show. As I forgot to hit add to stream, but how are we doing tonight, my man?
What's up, Peter? How you doing, Lance? I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing good. It was nice to catch up with you behind the scenes for the last 10 minutes, but we're excited. And as always, tonight's episode is sponsored by Picasso's Pizza. Every night is pizza night. That kind of brings me back to my show during the season when everything was sponsored by Picasso's Pizza. So Lance, let's get the ball rolling here on the conversation, some of the questions, and as always, the comment section is open, but we are prioritizing super chats tonight if you want to get your voice heard for Kaiir.
Absolutely. I'm a kind of a numbers guy, and we talked about this a little bit off air, but so you're number 5 in college coming in, and then you go to number 24 for the Bills. So what went into picking the number 24? Do you have anything of significance for that, or just kind of what was available and you're going to roll with it?
Yeah, it was basically what was available at the time. It was like the few options were like 24, 28, like 32 and 35, I think it was. And right after the draft, the equipment guys, they hit me up and they asked me what number I wanted. And I was like, 24, most definitely, because, I mean, I just felt like it's a number that I could see myself being successful in. And I don't know, I just picked it out of that group of numbers.
There you go. That's dope. Yeah, we appreciate that. Obviously, one of your most successful teammates there in Buffalo is cornerback Trey White. So tell us a little bit, and tell the fans a little bit how coming in and working with a guy, an all-pro like Trey White, and how that has gone.
I mean, to see what he has done in the past, it's just like, SEC guy, super duper smart, hard worker. Just to see what he has done in the past is just really, really like, I wouldn't say this is like a blueprint to really like take bits and pieces from, and to just add to my own game to, develop and just, hopefully become successful, more successful, than him. That's my goal. But, it's definitely been a blessing to have somebody like that who I get to, watch at first-hand basis, play and perform and practice and go about his day, because he's a good guy and he's been successful. So he knows
when you were drafted, obviously Trey White was here. Anything like when you immediately drafted that kind of stood out from his game that you wanted to immediately come in and like emulate, just to show yourself and just to develop as a player?
Mm-hmm. Because he was kind of like me. He just came in from a man system, and he came into his own system, and he had to learn. And really, I just wanted to add that to my game, being able to play off and make plays in zone and play and make a lot of plays and off. I think add to my game, and just being twitchy and explosive as well, like out of breaks. And he's like one of the best guys in the league doing that. So probably the best, honestly, to be honest with you, like just coming out of his break and being explosive. So I just always wanted to add that to my game, and really just see how he studies the game, and just listen every time he speaks. I'm just mouth closed, just 2 ears, just listening. So
you mentioned, obviously, people have talked about this in the national or in the media before, but you said obviously you came in from Florida playing a man scheme. Obviously, the Bills play a lot of zone scheme, and that's what Sean McDermott does. So year one, how was it translating from kind of that man scheme type of thing you did in college to a zone scheme with the Bills?
It was it was a lot different. I mean, as anybody could expect, but it was something that I feel like as I got more reps, I really developed and grew in it. It allows you to have vision on the cue and also, really pass off routes so you don't have to chase anybody across the field like I did used to do in college. So, I mean, it's great in that aspect. You have vision on the ball, so break, make tackles downhill, and I think it's something that's really growing for me as a person, and just I don't know. I just want to just continue to develop at it, each and every day, just watching film and just seeing how guys have been successful in the past.
Yeah, for sure. Our co-founders here, Dave Myers and Hakeem Richens, saying what's up to you, and expecting Dave saying big things here too. So with that, I mean, you had 2 interceptions and 4 pass defense, so 2 and 4. You like that combination of numbers? It seems. I like that. What do you think going into year 2 is the biggest improvement? What's the aspect of your game that you're really going to kind of step up on in year 2, and what's the training been like in the off season to really go from kind of that rookie mentality to now start getting that veteran presence a little bit under your belt? You understand the league a little bit better. You've had a year in, so now year 2, kind of, if you can critique yourself and give yourself, one, I know there's probably many, but one thing that's going to kind of jump out on your tape this year.
Yeah, just really, really investing in my body, just making sure, bumps and bruises are going to happen. Just make sure you just stand on top of those things and make sure I get the best treatment as possible. So I would say just investing in my body like I've been doing this off season. And I would just say being more instinctual, I would say, just playing a lot faster. And I've been really working on being more explosive and changing on my break and get my legs as strong as possible to, endure some of that 17-game season. And really just studying other guys, to be honest with you. Not only, like, I watch myself throughout the season and practice and games and film like that throughout the season, but really just critiquing, like seeing other guys. And I already critique myself throughout the season, and I see what I need to work on, and I got feedback from my coaches, which I appreciate. And just now it's just taking that next step from, year 1 to year 2. So I think that's really what I've been focused on in the most part.
Yeah, and if you're learning not only from your coaches and guys like Trey, and I'm sure Dane Jackson has a lot of insight, and just all your teammates. Benford did play a little bit too, so he's got not any more experience than you, but has some plays out there as well, so you can get a different perspective maybe on that. But how do the guys like Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer on the back end being there? How do those guys kind of play into hopefully having them healthy all year this year, right? And being able to play. Are you able to play a more intense physical game when you know that those 2 all pros are behind you?
Yeah, they are the best combination, I think, in the NFL. Those guys are very intentional. Excuse me, very intentional. Um, always where they need to be, and always find a way to make a play. So and their communication is great as well. So having those guys in the back, like I did in like training camp, because I didn't get to play with both of them at the same time, but I feel like it's a recipe for success, for a corner, because you can have reliable guys back there that's going to be what they need to be, disguise, and being able to affect the quarterback, so to make our job a little bit easier. So it's a blessing to have those guys back there, especially healthy this year.
Immediately when obviously I heard we were having you on, which is obviously an awesome privilege, I was thinking about, I guess, receivers you went up against in year 1, and someone Ben Begley in the comment section was talking about how's going against the top receivers at the game. Is it iron sharpens iron? But I was going to ask you, kind of going off that, like who's your toughest matchup you kind of faced this past season in your rookie year?
Toughest matchup. I mean, I like myself over any receiver now, but I feel like
Good answer.
I like Garrett Wilson's game. He's a dynamic player who they just look to get the ball to a lot. I can't wait for that matchup. George Pickens was really good. Who else I like their game? I mean, Tyreek Hill and Waddle, that duo there, you know, a lot of speedsters. I think I like, you know, their game as well. Like anybody on the schedule, I mean, every team to me has a solid receiver core, but some are better than others. But you know, you have to treat them all the same. To be honest with you, they can't beat me. So that's my mindset right now. But as from their game, I say I like, you know, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, and then the veteran receivers like Waddle and Tyreek Hill, that were good too as well.
You mentioned Tyreek Hill, and I always go back to this play. I tweeted it actually about it, and I watched it a couple of times or a handful of times. Second time you guys played Miami. That's the game that ended with the snow. Obviously, the Bills won, but you had that pass deflection on Tyreek Hill. It was either, I don't know, it's probably the exact term. It's either it was a comeback to the boundary, or it was just an out route to the boundary. But you were very physical at the line. You stayed with him the whole way, and then made a great comeback to the ball. Like, how is it keeping with Tyreek Hill? Because obviously he's a good route runner, but his speed is just unbearable. Mm-hmm. So like that play always comes back to mind. Like you stayed with him, and then you came back, you made an amazing break on the ball, and obviously it was a great defensive play. But like that type of play against like Tyreek Hill, like how do you keep up with him consistently?
I feel like I could run as well. So I mean, on that play, I really didn't fear his speed. I just really tried to to the best of my ability, stay in his hip pocket and really run out my break, because I know he could separate with any receiver in the NFL. But he's always dynamic. He has the numbers to match it. But I didn't really have no fear to line up in front of him. But he's one of the best in the league, and I look forward to, you know, guard him in the future, because that really, I want to be great. I want to be the best, and he's one of the best. So in order for me to, you know, say that I have to prove it first. So.
Yeah, you've really developed well on my Madden franchise, just so you know. Really good. Like 95 overall now. So the projection there is really nice.
Well, that's the goal in real life.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're already a 95 in my book, guy. But when we're speaking about receivers, so one of the questions I kind of was interested in is, so how did the guys in practice and in camp and things like Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and those kind of guys, and especially Steph, how do those guys kind of help you, and do you like go to them for certain things to kind of, not only you want to get help at your position room and things like that, but can the receivers still help you understand what their goal is to defend it?
I mean, I remember I went to I think it was Gabe, and I was asking about all of the corners he go against, what made them so good. Or I went to Diggs and asked him about like how he can stay so consistent. He's like always the same player every time he steps on the field. You know what I mean? So just like, I know I had a conversation with him about like investing in my body and like doing whatever's necessary to perform best on Sunday. And so that really stuck with me, because like he's very wise and been very successful and very consistent in this league for a long time. And that's where I want to be. So I mean, they're good dudes. I mean, I learned from Diggs, like, just no matter what's going on, nobody really cares. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you perform on Sunday. So you always want to feel your best well, not Sunday, but anytime it's game day. So you always want to make sure you do it as much as possible for you to feel your best on game day. So, like I said, Gabe, like he told me like what corners do that he's seen that like gave him difficulty or something like that. So, I mean, they're both guys I could learn from, like just their mentality. Like they always feel like they have to win, and I just took that and ran with it. Like I always feel like I have to win now. So it's just like, yeah, that's what I learned from those guys.
Yeah, we got a couple of the same questions here in the comments to kind of go along with your game. AJ, go ahead, brother. Take this.
No, but talk about one of your favorite. Like, what was your favorite moment as a rookie? There's obviously a couple that come to mind, but for you as a rookie, is there like one moment that just stands out?
And our guy Matt Homan, who writes for us too, says his is when you intercepted Mahomes in the end zone there.
Yeah, I'm reading it now. Yeah. What team? You said team moment though?
Team or individual. He's looking for a favorite moment overall as a rookie.
Yeah, probably that Kansas City play against Mahomes, because that was like Like it was just like back and forth, and then it was like, okay, I think they had the first drive. It was the second drive or first drive, and that was like a momentum shift for us. So I think that was a good moment. But as a team, I just felt like, I don't know, it's so many good moments we had as a team. Like that Dolphins game, where we stuck together and we went at the end. Like that was a great moment for me individually and for the team as well.
You had that layout pass break up there. That was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I got a lot of time to play and just really wanted to make sure I made a mark on that game to help us win. Anytime I can pick the ball off and give it back to Josh to go score a touchdown, I think that's one of my favorite moments too. Like just being able to see him just on the sideline just sling it, like, you know what I mean, make crazy plays, hurdle people, stiff arm. Like that's what I think people pay to see. So
100%.
anytime, getting the ball back, that's an awesome moment for myself, but for the team as well, just to give them an extra opportunity to go score.
Besides the interdivisional rivalry, do you think that like playing against a Miami or a Jacksonville, like a Florida team, will give you any more juice because you're kind of from there and you're like, oh man, these are kind of my home dogs. I gotta get after them.
Family and friends talking trash all the time. We play like a Florida team, so we only played the Dolphins last year from Florida, but like we play like Tampa or Jacksonville. Like I know people, I'm gonna have people talking trash. So
all three this year, I think.
I can't wait to shut them up. So yeah,
that's good, man.
You were talking about getting the ball back to Josh. You had a crucial interception in the wild card round when we were down. It was 24-20. I'm pretty sure. I think it was in the third quarter. It was third quarter. It was like a third and long, but you got the ball right back to Josh. They scored and obviously took the lead, and they won the game. So that interception was massive. What was going through your mind? I'm like, that was an up and down game. One of those games where we were in control early, or you guys were in control early, and then kind of slipped away. But that interception was massive. So like, what was like just the mentality in that?
Let's go get another one. Let's go get another one. I should have had another one. But there's no shoulda, coulda, woulda in football. There's always the results in the film. That's all that really matters. But definitely that was my mindset. Let's go get another one. Let's get it back to Josh so we can like expand this lead. So we we got the lead back after that, but to expand the lead and kick their behind. So
we got a super chat here. So T from Not Your Average Podcast and 716, also on the Built in Buffalo Network, asked, do you have any expectation for yourself this year? So I guess tell us a little bit, tell the fans, and we're going to get into a couple more questions probably that are in the comments, but I do want to get a couple more that we have here planned for you. But any expectation for yourself in, I don't know, do you put goals together to have a certain number of stats or anything, or is it just worrying about helping the team win the Super Bowl basically?
I do, but I like to keep my goals to myself, honestly. But I would say this, like I really want to be like the best corner, like not even on the team but in the NFL, but I know it's going to take time and things like that, but that's my goal for myself. But I know I could do it. I know I could do it, and I have the skill set to do it. So, I just taking that next step and just becoming the best Kaiir Elam I could be. That's my really only expectation, like numbers wise and stat wise. I know that'll come as long as I staying consistent and taking care of my body and, staying consistent as a practice player as well. But I just feel like there's another level I could take it to, and I know I could, I'll do it this year. So
yeah. One of our other guys kind of asked, when you're talking about kind of being the best Kaiir Elam, when you were obviously really good at Florida, you kind of carried that notebook along with you, and some people were kind of wondering if you have an NFL version of that notebook, and do you kind of still keep it up to date, and what kind of stuff do you keep in there for the notebook on the NFL?
I definitely have the note all the time. Actually, it's in my room right now. Why you want to see it?
Yeah, if you're willing. Yeah, we're definitely.
I'll go get it. But yeah, I mean, what type of stuff do I keep in there? I mean, really, it's just like teams and what they do well, who their top targets are, what their routes are on third down, what I did like wrong in games and that I could improve off of, stuff like that. It's not major, but I keep it on like that.
Nice. There
Oh,
it is, man.
nice.
Is that a new version for the NFL?
Yeah, for sure.
You gonna have one notebook per season, or how do you play that?
No, I mean I have a forever notebook, and then I have one for every season
Oh,
that I always take with me to meetings. But this is the only one. I keep this one at home.
perfect. One more comment here we do have. It looks like Neil shot us a super chat, but Neil, you didn't put any comment in there. So drop us a comment, Neil, and we'll get your comment on there.
Oh, you got it.
So my best friend, Matt Matillo, is a huge Bills fan of me. So I'm going to just play his question on here a little bit. And what are your thoughts about facing off with future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers twice a year and getting the opportunity to show out on the Monday Night Football opener to lock up Garrett Wilson, who we talked about already, kind of your respect for his game and all that. But Aaron Rodgers twice a year and that Monday Night Football opener, what are your thoughts on that?
It seems like, I don't know. It seems like that's going to be the game to set the momentum and the tone of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, first I got to focus on training camp, which I'm doing now, my preparation in the off season. But like when it gets time for that game, like it's going to be very like important for me, to show out, because that's going to be like, it's going to set the tone for the season. I just say it like that. I keep it like that. And I have a lot of goals for that game that I want to get done. And I definitely will get done.
If you guys are just tuning in, this is the Buffalo Blitz right here on the Built in Buffalo Facebook, YouTube, and network. YouTube and Twitter network. Make sure you guys subscribe to everything. We have Kaiir for another about 8 to 10 minutes here, so drop your questions. Obviously, our show will go to 9. The rest of the show will be talking about some defensive things and all that fun stuff. But we have Kaiir for another 8 to 10 minutes, so drop your questions. Neil did actually drop a question. It's a fun one. Have you jumped through a table? This is part of his super chat. The question. Have you jumped through a table?
Tell Neil that was a great question. No, I haven't jumped through a table, but I definitely see all the videos all the time after games, and I definitely like that looks lit, bro.
And that's a really good segue kind of into our question we had for you too, is how does it feel to be a part of Bills Mafia? So how have the fans kind of embraced you? You were part of Gator Nation that they call down there, a huge fan base in Florida, right? For at the collegiate level. And then you come to Buffalo to the biggest fan base in the league, with just kind of these fans are insane, which I consider obviously ourselves part of that group as well. But just tell us a little bit about how Bills Mafia has been with you and how everything has gone kind of from the fan side of things.
I love it. I love like going somewhere and they're like singing a shout song, or just down to earth people, blue collar people that just want to see this team win a Super Bowl, man. But they also care about the individual players as well, and a lot of them are really respectful as well. Like they will like really like look and be like, oh, he probably don't want to be bothered. Let's leave him alone today. Or they have like, excuse me, like I see you're busy. Like, do you mind if we could take a picture? Like they're real respectful when it comes to things like that. So I mean, I love just going around Buffalo. Like I walk around Buffalo by myself, and then it's all love there. It's like you said, people say like the city of brotherly love. Like or good neighbors. I'm sorry, the city of good neighbors. I really believe that.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go to some Sean McDermott. Obviously, Sean McDermott's gonna be calling plays for not his first time, obviously, but for the first time with him, and obviously with the Bills. Leslie Frazier is no longer with the team right now at the moment. So what are your expectations for McDermott and his play calling style?
I don't see us sitting back and playing on our heels. He wants us to attack oriented defense, and I think you're gonna see a lot of aggression and a lot of physicality when it comes to our defense. I just see growth like from last year, honestly, to be honest with you.
Gonna see a little bit of 24 in the backfield getting in the sack category or something, huh? What do you think about that?
You already know what I think about that. That's my goal. That's what I'm working toward. That's what I want to see. That's what I need. That's what I need for myself.
Did you have a sack in college? You ever have it in college at Florida?
I'm not sure. We didn't really cap blitz that much.
Okay.
Yeah, if I did, I probably swatted the ball or something though. Like they probably quarterback try to get rid
That
of it.
works.
But I don't. We didn't really cap this that much, so I don't think I had a sack.
Yeah, they ain't gonna send their best player on defense
Yeah,
on a
right.
blitz probably. So I think that you were pretty high up there. You had 5 sacks, brother. 5 sacks.
Are you sure, Lance?
Nope, that was your uncle. Sorry. I don't know why your uncle came up as your stats, but okay.
Hey, I guess your uncle was a heck of a player.
Yeah, I'm not sure again why he comes up as oh, there it is. Okay, I got it here.
No,
Sorry.
I don't think I had a sack.
Yeah.
I was in coverage.
Yeah, makes sense, obviously. Let's see. What are your expectations for you know what? I was gonna ask weather in Buffalo, because obviously that has a major, that's what I was trying to go to, and I couldn't figure out where it was. Weather in Buffalo obviously has a major effect on game day, on during the game, way different than obviously in Florida, total different type of weather.
Yeah.
The snow, how does that affect you?
I gotta layer up with like icy hot and like lotion and warm skin. I just having to figure out how to stay warm on that sideline was like the hardest thing ever. Standing next to a heater, you have all the big guys taking it, stand in front of it and taking up all the space. So it's like, I mean, that was the hardest thing ever for me. But I think towards the end of the season, I kind of figured it out though, just layering up with like all types of Vaseline and icy hot and warm skin and
Jeez.
all that. I'll later after halftime as well, like put a whole bunch on and double sock, tights, but I'm kind of used to the cold now. I don't really mind the cold, but the snow is definitely a lot different. I don't think there's no getting used to that.
Yeah.
No getting used to
Cold,
that.
cold.
Yeah, you got to definitely invest in some Under Armour there. That's what I'm in the stands, but sitting still, so I got to get that Under Armour cold gear sitting there. And I've had season tickets since 2013, so I definitely been able to get in there and layer up and make sure you stay warm for the game. So Peter,
Shout out to the fans who wear barely no clothes in the stands. Those are real.
Yeah, the no shirt,
real warriors.
the no shirts. That's a tough
Yeah.
one. I don't know how people go home or survive.
Respect them totally.
ooh, another super chat here from our founder and owner Dave Myers. Thanks for your time,
Wings on
Kaiir.
him.
Wings on him. You picked the place and the time, and
Yeah.
be there.
Kaiir, do you have a favorite wing place in
Appreciate
Buffalo? Do you have a favorite wing place? People obviously and their wings. So this is a dangerous question I'm asking here, because you give the wrong answer, some people.
So it's crazy. All right, so it's crazy, right?
Mhm.
I've never liked blue cheese until I came to Buffalo.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
That's a good
never ever. I don't know why it's so different, but so I mean, favorite wing place. That's tough. I've been to a few. I've been to quite a few. But even my parents like say the same thing. Like they're from Florida, but they travel all the time. And when we went to Buffalo, and I was like, try blue cheese. Like, I'm telling you, it's gonna change your life. This is really good. So yeah. So I mean, I don't know.
You're probably gonna say Picasso's Pizza, right?
I don't think I've had wings from Picasso, to be honest with you.
You can lie, bro. Nobody knew that before you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need some ASAP now.
Yeah.
No, I never
Absolutely.
had.
That's funny.
Blue cheese does hit different in Buffalo. I was up a couple weeks ago for some event, and went to Bar Bill for the first time.
Yeah.
Never had Bar Bill. Went to Bar Bill for the first time. Had wing nuts.
Cajun honey butter barbecue.
Yeah, I had that. That was good. That was pretty good. I'm usually just the traditional medium wings, like medium buffalo. Keep it simple, not too crazy. But the Cajun honey barbecue was pretty good. And tried wing nuts for the first time. That was pretty good. I know Lance got mad at me for saying I like the Anchor Bar, but that's a different conversation for a different day, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just a few more minutes here with Kaiir. So get a couple more fan questions in from the comments too. AJ's coming back in, asking your biggest mentor for football at any level. Who's it been and why?
Biggest mentor for football. Like mentor, like as a person I learn from the most, or like go to when tough times are tough.
however it means to you.
Yeah.
I have my dad and my uncle who's played in the NFL, and I have Coach Bill Parcell who lives literally 20 minutes down the street from me, so he's been a good mentor as well.
Not a bad guy to learn from.
No,
just
not a bad
one,
couple 3 guys, right?
Just picking one is crazy. I mean,
yeah, you ain't gotta go that
like
far. I mean, just those are the guys.
I like to watch other people pick other people's brain as well, like especially on my team or things like that. But number one mentor, I mean, I would have to give it to my dad, I would say, because he taught me how to play the game of football when I was in high school. Because I was never allowed to play through middle school. So when I first really committed to being successful in football, he was the first person that we would work out probably twice a day, to be honest with you. So I shout out to my dad. We spent tons of hours together on that field when I was in high school. But as I grew in college and to the pros now, it's just all about what my coaches think and what drills I should be doing and things like that, and really overstep those boundaries. But so yeah, I would say shout out to my dad because he really helped me change my life for the better. So shout out to him for being a good mentor. My uncle as well. My uncle worked with me. We used to compete against each other. Made me better as well. Matt Elam, I got to learn from their mistakes and experiences. So shout out to him as well, and Coach Parcells for giving me words of wisdom and knowledge and things to expect as well. So shout out to him. But number one, I guess I would have to say my dad because I was not a good football player when I first started. So.
Yeah, you got to give shout out to Pops, and I appreciate the heck out of him too. He's been coordinating with Lead to get you on here, and it's been a great guy, emailing and texting and getting back to me when he could and calling. So a lot of stuff in the background that worked out, and he was such a joy to work with. I hope we can continue to work together. And before we get out of here, I just had one thing come to mind. I was talking to Stevie Johnson the other day. We were doing a filming of he's going to start an ebook. So we're doing a filming of this stuff. And he's telling me kind of yeah, my coaches didn't really want me to do something this way, but I knew that in order to win one-on-ones or win in my game, I had to do it my way. So is there any part of your game where you're kind of I just kind of got to do this my way, even though maybe the coaches don't always see it as the textbook way to play football, but is there you have that's what gives you kind of the edge, right? Is you have Kaiir's way of playing football has been damn successful, right? So there's certain part of your games that and you don't have to tell me what it is, but you kind of feel that same where you have certain things where coaches are maybe you do it this way. And you're no, I'm winning my way pretty well.
Man, you're trying to get me in trouble, man.
I can't. Stevie can answer it because he's already done playing. So he's yeah, dude, I hated that. But,
I mean,
yeah, all right, I got you.
I mean, you have to be yourself in order to not be a robot out there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
sure.
You have to be yourself, and what you have to, do what the coaches are saying too, because it's their way. But I mean, in some aspects, yeah, you have to just make the play, bro. You just got to find a way to make a play. No matter how you feeling, no matter how your body feels, no matter what's going on in your life, you just have to.
Yeah.
And especially for me, because I know how I what I want from out of myself and want to accomplish. You just, if you are who you say you are, or expect yourself to be, you gotta find a way, no matter what, no matter how a coach is telling you to play or what, you just have to figure it out on your own. Sometimes you can't go by the script. Sometimes you just have to play it your way to make the play. If you win, I don't think the coach is gonna yell at you or scream at you or bench you or nothing like that. If you lose, you have to take it to the chin. But
No, 100%. I think that's a perfect way to end this. I know Kaiir, you have to run, but we obviously 100% appreciate you coming on. Obviously, giving your time, and everyone in the comment section, that was awesome. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for another 25 minutes, Lance and I. But Kaiir, we just want to say thank you. We really appreciate it. I know Lance appreciates it, and we hope to keep this relationship going down the road into the season. Of course, man. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lance, man. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Yep, you too.
All right.
So everyone, that was Kaiir Elam Buffalo Bills starting cornerback going into his second year. And Lance, that was an absolute blast, man. I don't know about you, but I think I had a fun time.
Absolute great time. What an excellent kid. And, just really cool getting into a little bit of the psyche of the players and things like that. But I definitely had an excellent time there with that interview. We hope that Kaiir achieves all of his goals, obviously, because heck of a player, heck of a future ahead of him. We just hope
Yeah.
that he keeps taking care of himself, like he talked about, keeps working hard, and that's what he's about. So that's he's going to work hard and do the best he can, and we're rooting for him to develop into another top flight quarterback, just like he wants to be.
Yeah, and we're not going anywhere, Lance. We got to segue into a
Now we're going to start talking about him behind his back. So who is the cornerback 2 in training camp here? This is one of the training camp battles that we're going to talk about. And Peter, just give me a rundown. I think it's probably between Kaiir and Benford, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, obviously we know Benford started week 1 last year. Obviously the injuries didn't help Benford, but I think Kaiir played more the snaps last year. And I think Kaiir was maybe a little more effective when he played. I think when he played, he was very good. Like I alluded back to the Miami game, the second time we played Miami, that comeback route against Tyreek Hill. He was all over Tyreek Hill in a great way, matched up against probably one of the best receivers in the National Football League. He was good in the playoff game against Miami. I'm not going to go watch that Bengals game ever again because that game is not fun. But the Miami game, obviously, he had that crucial interception. We were down 24-20 heading into that interception. He picks it off. Bills get the ball back, and they don't look back, right? Like, that's one of those game-changing interceptions. I expect him. You're going to have Trey White on one side. You're going to have Kaiir on the other side. I would be utterly shocked if Kaiir is not the cornerback, too. I would be very, very shocked. I think he kind of, like we mentioned, Lance, right? He came from, and this is what gave Benford the leg up. Benford came from a zone scheme at Villanova. The Bills run a predominantly zone scheme offense. Excuse me. Kaiir came from a man coverage defense at Florida, had to come and learn a zone scheme. Obviously, he said he was adapted. He likes it, obviously, but it took a little while, and we kind of saw that.
Yeah,
but
I'm super stoked to watch Kaiir play this year. I mean,
I think
like we talked about, kind of like, him choosing the number 24. I was like, oh man, all right. We got a rookie first round pick, choosing the number 24. Let's go, and then you take a little bit you find different ways to take a deeper look into certain guys on the team that you might not otherwise. So, for me, that was Kaiir. I followed him very closely through his first year. And I think that he definitely has that mentality where he's knowing what he's keeping that notebook. He knows what he has to improve on to be successful. And like Dave's saying here, the system is going to be a little bit different. So it's going to be, on your toes, aggressive mentality. And I think that
I like that
really suits the players we have. And that includes Kaiir Elam being the cornerback across from Tre'Davious White.
We might have to clip that for tomorrow for the promo. That's people like that. People love to hear that. Obviously, people have talked about McDermott being more that aggressive play caller, besides Leslie Frazier. And I was very careful how I worded that question. I wanted to make sure I don't just bash Leslie Frazier because that's not what I was trying to do.
Nothing but love for him.
Yeah, but obviously Leslie Frazier is no longer. I don't even know I don't know what he even is. I said no longer a member of the team, which I think that's probably
he's taking a leave of absence this year, and then his contract's up, and so he's not going to be a part of the Bills.
But the more aggressive style of play. Not the one thing that was interesting that he said, not be on your heels, right? We always go back to that Bengals picture in the divisional round when the corners were on their heels on a 3rd and short, right? We don't want to see that again. Obviously, there's time and place for that. There's time and place for every type of defensive calls, but not on 3rd and short. So yeah, I think I was excited to see that. But I would say cornerback 2 is Kaiir. But the Bills defensive backs, obviously we'll put safeties aside. We know how good the safety group is when they're healthy. And Taylor Rapp just adds another dimension. Even DeMar Hamlin back as the 4th safety, if he's fully healthy and clear to go, is incredible as a football wise, and obviously as him being able to play again. But if you look at the cornerback room, like you still have Dane Jackson, And they trust Dane Jackson. I know we're kind of counting Dane Jackson out, but the Bills are not afraid to go back to Dane Jackson. But like I said, I would be shocked if it's not Kaiir next to Trey White for most of the games.
Yeah, you think about that. I mean, and it's going to be, if it needs to be a rotate, guys can get blows now because there's not going to be a drop off. If you have Benford in to give Kaiir a breath, if he's just running a go route and he's gassed, but you heard him, some of the things with switching off means you don't have to chase the guys around the field as much. So in the zone scheme, I think that they're still going to play some zone. It's going to be a little bit different zone and more aggressive, hopefully pressing up on some guys and things like that. So I think to wrap that up, the cornerback room is just really exceptional. You have Tre'Davious White, who Kaiir says is literally the most explosive guy coming out of a break that he's seen. And then you have Teron Johnson, the best nickel corner, slot corner, whatever you want to call him, in the NFL. And then you have Kaiir Elam on the other side, who's the best up-and-coming young player in the league. He's striving to be that, best cornerback, and he's a year or two into it. And, like we say, we're going to, definitely Teron, Trey, and then Kaiir. It's just a dangerous secondary. And then you have guys like Dane and Benford who can sit in there and spell guys. If they play a dime look, you have another guy, Taylor Rapp, could step in as that other slot if you're saying two slots in the dime. But yeah, they just have a good problem right now where they have a ton of talent, and then they just drafted a kid in the 7th round who a lot of people like as well, Austin. So he's coming in and going to be another guy that they put into the system. So they just have an embarrassment of riches in their secondary, I think, this year, and it's a good problem to have. When we're talking about battles in camp, cornerback 2 is going to be interesting, but there's really no winner or loser because it's just everyone's probably going to play at some point based upon situations and getting dinged up or this, that, and the other. And the only real thing that's unknown kind of segues to our next topic is the middle linebacker battle in camp. So, Peter, this is your guy, right? So we have Dorian Williams, who we drafted. We have Tyrell Dodson, who's been on the team for a few years now. And then we have Terrell Bernard and Balin Spector, who are guys coming out of last year's draft as well. So is it a 4-horse race? Is it a 2-horse race? Is it a 3-horse race? What do you think the middle linebacker battle is going to come down to? And what are you looking for when you're watching that?
So obviously we know we got Matt Milano on as one of the 2 pairings in the linebacker room. I would be shocked right now if Balin Spector wins the job, right? I feel like that would be kind of crazy. I'm not trying to knock the kid, but I don't know if they want to, with him playing very limited action last year, just thrust him into the starting middle linebacker role. So I'd probably take a backseat to him. AJ Klein, I wouldn't say he wins the middle linebacker role. Like I would.
That's why I didn't mention him, Peter, because I'm not an AJ Klein guy.
I think you mentioned Okay, I just had AJ Klein in the back of my head. So AJ Klein, no.
Terrell Bernard, Terrell Dodson, and
that
Dorian Williams.
That's the 3 right there, right? So I think Terrell Dodson probably has the leg up. He's been in the system. He's been here a couple of years. He knows McDermott's system, right? Like Terrell Bernard does, but he doesn't as a middle linebacker. I don't know. Look, at some point this year, Dorian Williams will be the starting middle linebacker. They drafted him in the 3rd round, and he played. And how many times have I said the same stat over and over again? He played more than 70% of the time at Tulane at the inside linebacker position. When he was drafted, everyone's like, he's an outside linebacker. He's an outside linebacker. He's an outside linebacker. It took a freaking Google search for me to do that he was not an outside linebacker, right? He plays most of the time inside. It is still different than being the mic and calling the plays on an NFL defense on a team that is trying to win a Super Bowl. That's a big responsibility. That's a big step up. Week 1 against the Jets, is Dorian Williams the starting middle linebacker? No, I don't think that. But There's some point this year, I don't know when it is. I'm going to say before the middle part of the season. So maybe week 4, week 5, Dorian Williams is the starting middle linebacker. I do think this is a rotation, right? I do think they're going to do a ton of different things with this the secondary. Maybe we'll see more 3 safety looks with Taylor Rapp because they brought him in, and they're going to use him because he's a starting caliber safety in the National Football League. But I do think Dorian Williams is the future at the middle linebacker position. Look, if it's week 1, that's great. That means the Bills hit on that pick immediately. It means it's going to work out, all that stuff. The safe option's Terrell Dodson. That's the safe option. Terrell Bernard's like that wild card option, right? I think Terrell Bernard's like the wild card. I think Dorian Williams eventually turns into the starting middle linebacker. And then I think Terrell Dodson's probably the safe option. But look, Lance, if Dorian Williams, he's explosive. We saw if you watch his Twitter highlights, he can get after the quarterback. He was a day 2 pick for a reason. This guy is here to be productive, and he's here to be productive right away. If he comes in and has a grasp of the defense, can understand the play calling, he's going to have Matt Milano next to him. He's going to have Poyer and Hyde behind him. That is some pretty good running mates. If he can get a grasp of the defense and be comfortable in that middle linebacker position, they're going to go Dorian Williams because I think his upside and his potential is skyrocketed ahead of where Dotson is or where Dotson can be.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that Dorian Williams is your starting middle linebacker. I don't necessarily think that I guess they could, but I don't necessarily agree with the 4-week plan to then replace. I think that he's either going to get it or he's not, and then he's going to have, help out there. But he's definitely, I think they want someone other than Milano to be calling the plays there. I don't think they want Milano to have to worry about and put the play calling on his plate. Maybe they do, and maybe that doesn't matter, but I'm pretty sure, the middle linebacker that they're going to choose, or the linebacker opposite of Milano, if they're staying in the 2 linebacker set. Now, if they go 3 linebacker set, you don't know. I think that Bernard and Williams could see the field at the same time with Milano in a 4-3 set. You could also see Bernard and Dodson, obviously. So it's interesting. Again, none of the options are really bad. Even Spector, I mean, if he shows up and he shows he can play, and doesn't make me mad at all if he's the guy that's best for the job.
I would be shocked.
But I think, it would be very shocking if that was the case. And I think the road's paved for Dorian Williams. I think he's got the ability, like we said. So, it's going to be getting the mental down, making sure. And look, this stuff's not easy. As we heard from Kaiir, this stuff's not easy to transition from your college system into the pro system.
It's really not supposed to be either.
Lock it. It's really not, obviously, by design. So there's probably, and this is why it gets back to Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer being one of the best tandems in the league, right? Because they don't need to communicate to know what the other's thinking. They already know, like, this is what we see. We process it the same. We know what the other's doing automatically because they're going to read that just like they are. And so having, a rookie do that is very tough. It's going to be a very big challenge for Dorian Williams to be able to do that. But I think he can. I think he ultimately can. I think his ability will outweigh any struggles he might have in the mental department to make it a no-brainer to put him out there on Sunday. And in this case, the Monday night opener.
If you guys are just tuning in, this is the Buffalo Blitz on the Built in Buffalo Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter network. We're live on all those platforms. Drop a comment on Facebook and YouTube. And if you did miss this episode, you can obviously rewatch it. And I'm going to tell you why you should rewatch it in about a second. And you can always listen on the podcast version, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Tomorrow morning, it comes out. But if you're just tuning in now, right, and you want to see Kaiir Elam, well, you missed him. I'm joking. You can go back. You can rewatch. He left about the 35-minute mark. So about a 35-minute great interview with Kaiir. Just go back. You can go back right now if you wanted to. You can wait for us to end in 10 minutes. We end at 9. You can go back, rewatch it, watch the whole interview. Or if you're like, you know what? I'm driving to work tomorrow. I want to listen to the podcast version. It comes out tomorrow morning, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But you can always, anytime on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, just scroll back, rewatch it. It's a good about 35-minute interview with Kaiir. So you guys want to rewatch it, you guys can. Lance,
And thanks to Picasso's Pizza
Oh, yeah.
for the
Great
Kaiir
spot.
Elam appearance. So Picasso's Pizza every night is pizza night. So we appreciate them for presenting Kaiir Elam to you guys. Another sponsor shout out real quick, just to get this over with, is Underdog Fantasy promo code Blitz. Will get you a deposit match from $10 to $100, and you can enter then into Best Ball Mania 4,
Yeah.
the largest fantasy football contest in the universe. So some exciting stuff coming up with that Underdog Fantasy. I've got some plans in place. I will be announcing that hopefully as the season gets closer. We have a little potential here to build a kind of fantasy league within Underdog. I've still got to figure that stuff out, so I don't want to spill the beans yet, but check
No.
back with us in the coming weeks here. We're definitely going to be able to give you guys a cool kind of way to play fantasy football this year.
And yeah, next week training camp starts next Wednesday. For some reason, I had Tuesday in my head, Lance, but it starts next Wednesday. So obviously, we'll have our show next Tuesday, and we'll give you our final preview heading into camp, all that fun stuff, and then the ball's rolling. We got camp, preseason, and the regular season's gonna be here as soon as you know it. So we're
And the
almost
rookies are in today. So the rookies came in today, and they're going to be, I think, in Orchard Park, I heard, for a week or so, getting acclimated, and then everyone will ship off to Fisher to get to camp next week.
camp starts next Wednesday, so about a week from tomorrow. What's that date? That's July 26th is the start of camp. We're excited for that. And obviously the Buffalo Blitz will be here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. podcast version, and obviously the live show. But yeah,
if you're going to camp, look for us. We'll be out there. I'll be out there on July 28th. I think a couple of guys from Built in Buffalo are going to be with me. So if you see us out there, come say hello.
You won't see me.
High five, shaking hands. Unfortunately, Peter won't be there, but we hope to have you next year working the thing at a different angle. So we'll cross that bridge when it gets there, right?
Maybe I'll go up for the what's that Bills scrimmage, the red white scrimmage.
All right, red, white, and blue. Yep, we'll be there as well.
Maybe I'll ship up there. But yeah, anything on the defensive side, we talk defensive line, right? The defensive line is kind of interesting, right? We have the D tackle position. Well, obviously we'll touch on this a little more next week, but just to kind of segue into next week, defensive tackle battle, right? Lance, we have obviously you have Poona Ford, you have Daquan Jones, you have Ed Oliver, right? But then you have Jordan Phillips and you have Tim Settle. I'm gonna go on a limb. They probably keep 4, maybe 5. It's kind of interesting what they do there. Yeah. Do you see a battle and do you see someone getting cut out of the 5 guys I mentioned?
Yeah, well, I'm going to add a 6th name because I like him so much. DJ Dale's been a big prospect, unsigned free agent, unsigned, undrafted rookie, UDFA. So
Alabama.
I think that DJ Dale kind of brings a little bit of pedigree to that room as well. So young player, a lot of upside. He's most likely a practice squad guy, but we're looking at who we're going to keep. We're looking at cap hits, those kind of things, and what's the better option for the longevity of the team. So really looking forward to that interior defensive line battle, because there's nothing saying that Daquan Jones has that DT2 locked up aside of Ed Oliver. I think Ed Oliver is pretty safely DT1, but do you looked at me weird? So you think Daquan's absolutely DT2 and Poona couldn't maybe beat him out for that?
I don't think there is a battle, right? I think I'm going to kind of preface this in a certain way, but I think Daquan obviously will be starting with Ed Oliver, but I think they're going to play so much him and Poona that it's not going to really matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. But we did see in that Bengals game with Jones out how brutal that run defense was. They're going to play Poona Ford. They needed another defensive tackle. They needed another edge, and they got Leonard Floyd, which I don't think is talked about enough how much of an impact that's going to be for this team. But I think Poona Ford, Daquan Jones, and Ed Oliver all going to play a ton of snaps. It's that 4th person next to them. Is it Tim Settle or is it Jordan Phillips?
If Jordan Phillips is healthy, I really feel like he gets the nod because he's just a beast out there. And especially in the pass rushing situations, obviously that's where he excels. Settle is like a bowling ball, he's just low to the ground, kind of just gets through people.
Settle.
Yep.
but he's really similar in play style to Jones and Puna Ford. Right, Ed Oliver's more that can get after the quarterback. So is Jordan Phillips. Like I agree with you. If Jordan Phillips can stay healthy, it's probably Jordan Phillips' job to lose. Obviously, it's gonna be a cap issue. They could keep 5.
I think Settle's really quick though, really or quicker than at least Daquan maybe. He's kind of like I say, he's kind of like that bowling ball, but he can move
I
and
like
he's very laterally quick. And that's kind of how he excels as a defensive tackle. So I definitely think he has a little bit of that quickness in him that kind of like I said would make him stand out a little bit from the crowd and not just be like another
Mhm.
plug and play option behind Daquan and Puna. But I agree. I think that the skill set's similar enough to where, but I think they're not going to want to get into a situation
Where you're
where injuries are going
yeah,
to put you in a
100%.
shorthanded situation. Now, will one of those guys go to a practice squad and be an elevation or something like that? I don't know. I don't
Could
know
you
how
get
they're going to
Jordan
work
Phillips on
that.
a I don't think you can get Jordan Phillips or Tim Settle on a practice squad.
Probably not. Yeah,
You can
you're
get
right.
DJ Dale on a practice squad. You can't get
Right.
Jordan Phillips, and you
I'm
can't
just thinking if they're trying to come up with creative ways to keep 5, because then you have the defensive
wait.
the edge
If
rusher
if
room,
you
right?
keep
Where you're
5
gonna
D
keep
if you keep 5 D tackles, does that mean you only keep 4 edge?
right, that's not possible because then you have like you're saying, you have,
They're gonna keep 5 edge. They always
Von
keep
Miller.
5 edge.
Yeah, they're gonna have Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, and Gregory So. That's a lock, right? And then
It's a 3
that's
person line
where the
each side.
conversation is gonna get into next week.
Yeah.
We're gonna go a little bit deeper on the AJ Epinesa, Shaq Lawson, Boogie Basham battle in camp because those 3 guys are battling for 1 or 2 spots. A lot of people think that Von Miller is gonna end up on the pup
Well,
to start. I don't.
but you still gotta
I'm
get rid of someone eventually.
I'm just looking at,
You know what
you
I mean?
know, let's see what's being put out there right now. I know that everything's a smokescreen nowadays and things like that, but you know what? If Vaughn says he's pretty good and he's got to get to he's saying that all he has to do now is get through the mental part to trust his knee to work.
Excellent.
Knee is physically healed, and all he needs to do is be able to trust it and push off and cut on it. So let's see.
Yeah, next week, obviously Tuesday, we'll have our show before the official start of training camp, and obviously the first days could be interesting. Is Vaughn out there, right? Like if he's
Mhm.
fully participating right away, and then
Right.
me and Lance have no idea either way, but if he's fully participating, then that conversation maybe not thrown out the window, but it might be one of those conversations. You're not going to put him on pup because even if he's not ready for week 1, maybe he's ready for week 2 or week 3. So, and yeah, the Boogie Basham conversation we'll get into next week, but for my internship with Matt Perino and Ryan Talbot, I wrote an article for Syracuse.com, and I highlighted 2 players that I think need to show out in training camp: 1 offense, 1 defense. Offense was Spencer Brown. My defense was Boogie Basham. So we're going to get into Boogie Basham and a lot more defensive players next week. But we appreciate it, Lance. I know you appreciate everyone in the comment section. I'm scrolling
Absolutely.
through all these comments. My God, YouTube and Facebook. YouTube was killing it. Facebook was killing it. We appreciate everyone. We love this support. It means a lot. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to Lance. Lance, this was on you tonight, man. I did none. Well, besides talking, I did none of the work to get Kaiir on the program. So shout out to you, man.
I
Awesome.
couldn't get him on if you didn't invite me to be your co-host, brother. So it's all a team effort, and we really appreciate again the people in the comments. Guys, look out for our upcoming shows. We got the sit down on Thursday. We have Bill's chat coming up on Friday,
Yep.
and then the Red Zone report on Sunday before we're back next Tuesday. And we're going to have an excellent lineup coming up here. Maybe next week we'll be able to roll out the graphic and be able to show you guys, what our in-season lineup's going to be
Awesome.
looking like. We'll have a show every night and keep you guys up to date with everything going on with the Bills. Have a few different people's perspectives on here. We got a lot of good, talented content creators at Built in Buffalo. So you check out our writers are really good. We got to get our website back up. We do have a technical difficulty on that, but we will get that back up, get our writers rolling again. And, just everyone who does both audio and the live shows, just a lot of good content being put out there, witty, not funny, and things like that are on our channel. So check out our podcast channels wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. It's on Odyssey. Anywhere you can get your podcasts, you can get Built in Buffalo Podcast Network. So go check it out. Like I say, a lot of talented people, a lot of good content out there from this brand. So keep on supporting us. We really appreciate you all. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for all the comments, super chat or otherwise. And go Bills, baby.
Yeah, and make sure rewatch us if you missed the Kaiir Elam interview. Is about 35 minutes long, so you guys go back, rewatch it on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you're like, you know what, I'll prefer the podcast version. Comes out tomorrow morning, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or like Lance said, wherever you get your podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday, as always, at 8 p.m. And we'll give you our final preview the night before. It's like the night before Christmas, the night before training camp next week. Everyone have a good rest of your week. And as always, go Bills.
Go Bills, baby.